see how this can work. See if I refresh over here, if it will show up. Let's see, maybe if I go to videos. There it is. Hey, what do you know? This works. I've got it here and there. There it is. Oh, I got echo. I've got it here. Now I can see the welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by the community guidelines. Okay, I will do that. We'll watch my privacy. There's 3 people watching already. I'll say hello in chat. Let's try that. Let's see if it'll appear over there. Hello. Does it appear over there? There it is. Okay. All right. Well, there's already a couple of people here. Cheers to you. Okay, this is kind of a lark. Not really. It's a very serious lark. Hello, the Twins vlog. Oh, there, it shows up right there. It's a very serious lark for me. This is something that I had thought about doing when was it? It was like a year ago. I was thought I'd make a video about project management, which is the, better with the glasses I can read, which is the field that I'm in now, since I came back to America. And it's been 5 years almost exactly. Next week will be 5 years since I came back to America and embarked on a whole new career. You know, I spent all that time in Japan as an antique dealer and an English teacher and various sundry things, but mainly those 2 things. And before that I was in IT, working in training and support. And when I came back here, I began as basically an analyst, a business systems analyst. And to be frank and honest, I really didn't know what the heck that was when I got started. I really did jump into the deep end without knowing what I was doing. And frankly, I probably should not have made it through my initial year of probation because I was struggling. But in those first 2 years, the second year was very hard as well. But I finally didn't drown. I finally was able to, you know, like with the water just coming up, because I was able to survive, and I had a lot riding on it. You know, my whole family's welfare was riding on me making this happen. You know, 14 months after I arrived in America, my wife and daughter were selling everything and just quitting their jobs and disposing of everything and getting on an airplane and come over. I had to make this succeed. So I worked very hard at it. I'm 5 years later, I think I can say that I'm a project manager and I'm a business systems analyst. I wear 2 hats at work. And it's become more than just a job to me. It's a mission. I know that's kind of cliche to say that, but if you remember my years in Japan, I talked a lot about creating meaning in life. Well, maybe I didn't talk about it as much. I was developing some concepts over there that really came to fruition when I arrived back here, especially since I produced my book, Going Alone. Do I have a copy of it? Hold on. Oh, hold on, let me go grab a copy. Thanks for waiting. So, this was the result of, basically all those years, right, was this thing. And basically it's about, as it says, a life of courage, joy, and independence. And a lot of it has to do with the path of wildness, as I call it, which is becoming unstuck in life. It's breaking free from a lack of inertia. You want to do something. You want life to mean something. You want to find something in it to give it meaning. And there's a whole chapter in that here. So what it basically boiled down to was discovering, and this is more than I meant to talk about in the video, discovering a universe without apparent meaning and building meaning, creating meaning out of that. And part of that for me was discovering that I could create a lot of useful good in the world if I'm able to help facilitate important projects through their initiation phase, the requirements development, identifying what we need to do, and then ushering that project, setting out the milestones in the task that we're going to do, in a timeline, in front of the resources, and then shepherd that project along to successful completion. I found that there's great personal satisfaction and sense of achievement in doing that process. I've come to truly love what I do, unlike anything I've ever done before. I mean, it's truly a pleasure and honor, and every day when I step up to work and I swipe my badge and it goes beep and the door opens, I feel like have an opportunity to really do something useful. And I thought it might be interesting to share some of this because we need more people to do this stuff. So have you ever thought about it? Have you ever considered maybe a career as either an analyst or a project manager? I know that on the surface these sound like rather dull pedestrian pursuits, very much of not blue collar, but white collar button down shirt, thing. There's a comment. Hey Kurt, I've been reading, this is Bringer of Rain. Hey Kurt, I've recently been reading your book, Going Alone, and I really appreciate your insight and perspective. Please write more. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that, and thank you for the reading the book. It means a lot to me. Again, not in bookstores now. You can buy it on my website. You can buy it in 2 bookstores. It's in 2 bookstores. But every week I'm trying to add it to another bookstore. So, hold on. In more ways than I can describe, I've become the antithesis of what I would have imagined myself of being when I was in my 20s. I was raised by hippies, sort of kind of pseudo hippies, with the freewheeling, do your own thing, find your own way, all that kind of stuff. I would have expected by this point in my life I would have been wearing tie-dye and with pigtail on either side, with Birkenstocks. And in many ways that person still lives within me. Instead, I've become very much a cube warrior. But like I said, and I'm in danger of going on and on about, I'm a cube warrior with a mission. I'm a cube warrior with a mission to make the world a better place. Now, I'm very fortunate. I have to be careful. I don't want to talk too much about my work. I work in a very proprietary sector. I work in the public sector for a government agency that does, and I have to think about how much I should say. We work for social services, and basically we do things. The work that we do benefits the most vulnerable in our society, in the community that I live. And when we're able to facilitate, like I said, a project to successful completion, and we introduce efficiencies into the organization that has a couple of very tangible and immediate benefits, not the least of which is, of course, savings to the taxpayers, because we're doing more efficient, we're doing more with less with the money that we have. But the more important thing is that we are able to get the services to the people that need it. And I'm talking about the elders in our society. I'm talking about the homeless in our society, especially children who are in need. Get the services that they need, whether that's getting them, a bag of groceries, or making sure that there's someone that's going to come look after grandma if nobody's around to take care of her, make sure she's doing okay. Or if it's a matter of, taking a baby in arms out of the arms of a police officer that's had to remove a child from, for a home for some reason, and get them into an appropriate, bedded shelter, and not have them in an intermediary zone, right, into someone who can take care of them. Now, I'm probably starting to talk more about what I do than I really should. I really need to be careful about this. But that's what I do. So I was thinking I'm going to continue this video series. I already have one video in this series that I started over a year ago. I made one of these videos. And I'm kind of thinking about ways of doing this, because I've developed in part of what happened, I mentioned before, in the 5 years that I've been back. The first year was just struggling, falling flat on my face, time after time, humiliation, screwing up, not knowing what I was doing, feeling weak and vulnerable and like a failure. That was the first year of being back from Japan. The second year was starting to get back on my feet, realizing I could actually make something happen, and starting to really begin to collect tools and techniques of the project management and the business systems analyst, really the analyst trade. The third year was reconciling the last 2 years and deciding that I was going to go forward with the creation of a methodology to help me to do my job better. The fourth year was realizing success in methodology, one after another, one project after another, successfully started, managed, and completed on time, within budget, and to specification, using the methodology that I created in the third year. It's a 10-step, 3-document, sometimes 4-document methodology that I use. It's very simple, very straightforward. And now I'm in my 5th year, and I'm basically beginning to coalesce that process, that methodology, into a small team that we are using to basically begin to grow this within the organization, within the agency that I work in, beyond. And I thought, well, maybe I'll start sharing them. Maybe I should start sharing some of these things outside. And I have 2 goals in mind. One is to spread some of these efficiencies, hopefully to help others to become efficient. There are others that are either formal project managers, formal analysts, or just people that need to get things done more efficiently. And 2, looking for you. There's a need out there for people that have, and I'm sorry if I'm not looking right at the camera. I don't know, what the heck's there it is. There's a need out there for people that have some innate skills that are not readily teachable. They're not the things that you can necessarily go to college and learn business skills, for example. And they're not the types of things that are taught in mathematics courses or economics courses or even courses that teach you how to be an analyst. These are skills that are related to communication, human sensitivity to the management of groups, to keeping groups together, to understanding personalities and finding ways to work, make a team work, and to be a leader of a team, even though you may be the most junior person among them. You know, as a business systems analyst, I'm typically the lowest person on the totem pole in many of my meetings. But my meetings, they're my meetings. They're my projects. I run those things. And I'm looking for people that have those kind of diplomatic, nuanced ways of going forward. If you're the type of person, there is a place for you in this world of project management. And it's a good world to live in, and it's a world that has a great need. And it's a good paying world as well. So you can make a good living here. And there's a lot of demand in both the public and the private sector. If you're that person, then maybe keep your eye out for this particular series. Because this is the series where I'm going to try to talk about on kind of an impromptu banner about my day. It'd be neat if I could do it in such a way that I could show you what's on the screen. Maybe catch your interest. And then if you are interested, if you ask me questions about it, maybe I can give you some tips about, how to find your way into this field. It's, like I said, it's a worthwhile field. Take another sip, and then I'm going to get to the point. I'm going to conclude this video with my first, basically, on-the-fly summary of my job as a project manager. And like I said, I can't be giving away details about what I do, especially given the types of people that we serve. Very sensitive. But I do want to tell you, for example, I take a little snippet from the day. So I work 9-hour days, and I work 9 hours a day. There's 9. And then I get every other Friday off. Another interesting consequence of this. And today was a very busy day, so I'm going to give you an anecdote from the day. Today was a very, very busy day. I have 5 projects that I'm currently running, and let's call this one I'm going to talk about today Project X, for example. Today was a very busy day, very big day for Project X, yesterday and today. Project X is an application development project. Over a year ago, we were contacted by one of the agencies that we serve with the need to basically take an existing application that we had created for them and take it to the next level. Imagine it's a version 2.0, basically. So as the project manager, as the assigned project manager, the way this typically works is that this need filters in through the agency into our IT organization, filters down to the appropriate floor, whether it's an application development project or if it's an infrastructure project. Maybe it's a mapping project, whatever the case may be, filters to the appropriate floor. In this case, an application development floor. That's where I work, and then goes down through the management system to a supervisor who tags an analyst to put on the hat of the project manager and run it. And that was me. That was over a year ago. So when I received this project, I did my typical due diligence. I have my 10-step process, beginning with the first step, and I'll get into it later. I'll make more videos and talk about these steps, which is the identifying who the stakeholder is, who the sponsor is really over at the customer's end, the person that gives a damn, the person to whom whether or not it really matters if this project succeeds or fails, whose butt's on the line if it doesn't succeed, and who really cares. Sometimes these things come to you in such a way that you really don't know who that is, and you got to do a little stealthing to find that person. And once you find that, once you find your sponsor, that's the person who's going to be behind your shoulder, helping you out with the managerial authority to get things done. To say, thou shalt do this. I can say as a project manager, here's our list of deliverables, but I've got no power to tell anybody what to do. But my management stakeholder, my management sponsor, can do that. So I typically want to, whoops, I'm losing battery. I want a sponsor on both the customer side and a sponsor on the agency side where I work, right? So I've got muscle on both sides. Imagine those strong man or woman behind me. So once I've got those people identified, and I'm probably getting more detail than I need to, then I lay out, identify what the problem is, come up with a business case, come up with a project proposal. Then once we have the proposal agreed to, then we lay out the plan, identify the milestones and tasks, apply a schedule to that, have a kickoff meeting. We're off to the races. Well, it's been a long process. We were developing this application, upgrading this application in 6 phases. We're calling them 6 releases. Is that a 6? That's a 6. So this was the first one, release 1. It was a big one. We did a lot of stuff. Whole new URL, whole new application interface, big changes. Scheduled the maintenance window, 4-hour maintenance window midday during the week. Midday sounds a little strange to have, but it's okay. There were particularly strategic reasons why we needed to do that. That maintenance window was yesterday. I won't give away the times or anything like that, but it was yesterday. And during that time, we basically, brought down the application. It's an online web-based application. And then behind the scenes, we kind of imagine swapping things out. We have an application development team and a database administration team. And they were both doing their thing, swapping everything out. So when the curtain rises, it's a brand new application. So we basically completed that process yesterday. Everything went just fine because we had come up with a plan and basically a release plan. And we had a back out plan in case things went bad, how we'd back out again. And it all basically went according to schedule. It was a very interesting day yesterday. I waited, as per the schedule, I waited 24 hours until the midday today. And then I sent an email out to the team indicating that, namely the sponsors and the team, CCing the team, that the release 1 was complete. We're off to the races. See you guys next week for our meeting to kick off release 2 development. So the main point of this, and my battery is about to die, so I better go. The main point of this was the communication piece of that. Making sure that the appropriate people who needed to know, the users of the application, which are there 2 groups of users, the internal users and the outside users, all of the stakeholders in the project and the sponsors. And in future videos, I'll describe the difference between a stakeholder and a sponsor, and then make sure all the teams coordinated so that nothing takes us by surprise. We almost got you on one thing because we forgot to give a particular maintenance window times. It was a 4-hour window. My bad. But we caught that. Well, actually, one of the application developers caught that. So we completed that today, sent out that email, and it's nothing happier than to get the responses back from the stakeholders and the sponsors, especially those sponsors telling you, good work, thank you for completing this without issue. Our users are running the application with per expectation, and they're also able to have, we have help screens that are available through appropriate hyperlinks. It's really a good feeling to see that come to fruition and bring about. So that was basically not so much my status report. I give out status reports on a bi-weekly basis. That would be every 2 weeks rather than twice a week. This was more like a notification of the completion of a major phase. So that was a milestone ticked off the mark. Next week, we're going to get the team together and start over again with release 2. Not nearly significant. It won't take us a year to get through release 2. Well, anyway, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now before the battery goes. I'm losing subscribers right and left, right? I'm just definitely not wandering around in the wilderness, as I usually do. This is quite a different thing. But I'll tell you, I've never had any experiences in the wilderness that quite make me feel as good or help me to sleep as well as night as the experience of a job well done delivering solutions to people and communities that really need it. And if you have an interest in this type of thing, stick around, check out more videos. Send me an email. It's softypapa@goingalone.org. That's my new email address. So yeah, Going Alone, just like the book. Take care, everybody. Signing off for now. Have a great day. How do you stop this? Now it's time to swim. Yeah.